everybody, welcome to American Defender. Today we're going to be shooting the 16-inch AEA ZEUS. This is the first shot. This is the very first shot, actually. Had this gun for a while. We are shooting Mr. Hollow Point's 630 Hollow Point. Stop yapping and start clapping. Scope's not zeroed, so we're zeroing, but I just wanted to get the first shot in there. Ooh, that seat's pretty nice. Here we go. Let's hope I don't get a scope ring around my eye. We're shooting at 25 yards today because, well, I was too lazy to walk it out any further. We're on paper. All right, so how far did we go down on that? We were sitting at 4,000 PSI. We're down to 3. One more. Yeah. More manageable. It seems we're just shooting a little bit to the left, and that's it. All right, we got 2 shots out of it. The first shot was ridiculous. We only went down 200 PSI. A 1,000 PSI drop on the first shot, a 200 PSI drop on the second shot, third, right? Yeah. You know, it ain't too bad a grouping. We are a little bit. Hold on down there. We are a little bit to the left. See what we went down to. All right. This is already doing better than my Air Force Texan did. I can take a 4th shot. So I'm going to take the 1st shot here. And then here we go, 4th shot. Alright guys, so sorry about all the cuts that I had to make to the video there. Had quite a few people coming up to me asking me about the ZEUS and just what all was going on there. So I was stopping and talking to folks. I would like to talk about what I like about the 16-inch ZEUS. I like its size. It's a very practical size. You know, I like to do some hunting every now and again. I'm not as active in it as I used to be, but I do once, twice a year. I do get out to hunt. And the areas that I like to hunt are very treacherous areas. You know, being in Arizona, one of the my favorite areas to hunt is just outside the Superstition Wilderness area. And there's a lot of canyons, boulders, rocks, very treacherous area, shrubbery that I have to walk through. And carrying a full-size ZEUS is just not possible in some of these areas. As a matter of fact, carrying something that large could get you killed. So carrying something the size of the 16-inch ZEUS, which is of more of a normal size, is a benefit. It's also the lightest ZEUS that AEA makes. This is a Gen 2 ZEUS, so there are some things that are notably different that I just noticed. Okay, number one, we now have a Picatinny rail up on the top here. As you can see, there is a Picatinny rail up there. And now we have a different style tank on the front. It's a better design. Instead of having that very long, slender tank, we now have a shorter, fatter tank, which increases the volume. I still don't know, though, how much volume this particular tank carries. The wood stock on it is very nicely finished. The length of pole on it is perfect for someone my size, 6'2", with about an average reach, okay? And all in all, it's a very, very fun rifle to shoot. Let's talk about the accuracy. Let's talk about how it performs, though, because that's what most people would like to know. So for now, I'm going to set this down here, and I'm going to refer to our target that we were shooting at. So this is the target that I was shooting at 25 yards. And again, yes, I was just too lazy to walk it out to 50 or 100. So examining this target when I got back, I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that in my first shot groupings, I had a very tight 3-shot group, and I actually had a slug pass through pretty much the same hole as the previous shot. So accuracy is not a problem for the 16-inch Zeus. If you think that this 16-inch barrel is going to affect accuracy, let me reassure you, it does not. As you can see, that is a 3-shot group, and you could just tell how it's just slightly oblong, where the other get my hand behind it there, where the other shot had gone through it. So that is fantastic at 25 yards. However, that first shot consumes the absolute most air. Again, we were shooting 630 grain hollow points from Mr. Hollow Point. And like his findings found, I consumed a lot of air. I consumed 1,000 psi of air on that first shot. However, my second, third, and I would say to a certain extent my fourth shots were all usable shots. You won't see any expansion really from especially the third or fourth shot, but they're still usable, all right? I would say there's also a lot of drop, because again, this is a unregulated air gun, and we're taking up so much air on that first shot, you are going to see a dramatic amount of bullet drop because, well, our velocity's dropping as well, which changes the trajectory of our projectile. So what we see here is this right here's a flyer. We're not going to count that, but what we see is shots 2 and 3 are kind of landing right all in the same area right here. Shots 4 is these two down here, and I only did that a couple of times. If you're curious about this shot, I had a horsefly land on here and I got him. All right, so this is kind of what it looks like at 25 yards. Okay, while I did see on that first shot a lot of drop in available air, that first shot is incredibly accurate and is very powerful, and is going to be your most powerful shot compared to the others. I have not had time to chronograph this gun yet, so I am not going to quote any kind of figures at this point in time. Things that I find to be cons with this rifle. Let's talk about that. There's really only one thing about this rifle that really just rubs me wrong. One. And that is the fact that they put the pressure gauge on the right-hand side of the tank when it should be over here on the left. Why do I say that? Well, if you are out and you are shooting, especially in tight areas, in a blind, whatever, and let's say you take a shot, and for whatever reason that shot doesn't do the job, you must be shooting at a Sasquatch or something, that shot doesn't do the job, or you miss, because look, we're humans, all right, stuff happens. You have now got to go from being on target to turning the gun and lifting it up like so And they also make the numbers so incredibly small and hard to read that you got to sit here a second, especially if you're older like I am. You're looking at these numbers and you're like, what does that say? You know, you're starting to make this face and you're like, oh, okay. And in that amount of time, that injured animal, or it may not be injured, your animal has gone away and you've looked up and you've lost track. If they had placed it on the left-hand side, all that you would have to do is keep it up like so, okay? Bring your head to the left and look, keeping the barrel in the general direction and your eyes forward, and you could just kind of look at it and go, okay, I know what I'm at, and then get back on it. That is probably my biggest con that I have to say with this particular air rifle, is that the air gauge is on the wrong side of the rifle, in my opinion. I do, however, I will counter that with a like. They have gotten rid of the probes. No more probes, folks. I hate probes. But we have a Foster fitting right here. It's ready to roll. And they have a very gratuitous carve out for you to be able to get your fingers in there, even with a bipod mounted. So it also has the same safety system that AEA is known for. I call it the Garand style system because it's right there in the trigger guard. They still give you the little screw to put into the side there to keep your finger out of there. The other thing that I want to talk about, and I'm not going to list this as a con or a pro because it's something I'm investigating, is filling this thing. On my first fill, I had filled this up according to the gauge on this gun to 4,500 psi, which is the maximum fill pressure for this air rifle. I quickly unhooked it, and I noticed that on my air compressor, before unhooking it, my air compressor, which is an Umarex Ready Air, said that there was only 4,000 psi pumped into this rifle. So there was a 500 psi discrepancy between the two of them. It was not a hot fill. The tank was still cold, and the temperature still cold. It's winter time here in Arizona, and at the times like I'm making the video right now at 3 o'clock in the morning, the temperature's dipping down into the high 40s. So it wasn't a hot fill. There was nothing hot about anything. However, what I did discover is after putting it into my case and going out to the range, when removing it from the Zeus from the case and placing it on my bench, I went ahead and examined before we started to shoot the PSI gauge on the side, and it said 4,000 PSI. So could it have been a hot fill? Maybe, but the tank itself did not feel warm whatsoever. It was ice cold, like it came out of refrigerators, or a refrigerator, and I don't know. Maybe the gauge had a glitch and fixed itself. I don't know. So I'm going to continue to watch this, okay? And when I first fill a brand new air gun, I always go off of the gauge on the gun and not the gauge on my pump, because there could be something set up differently, and it also tells me if there's a glitch in the gauge. And I think that I might actually have a glitch in this gauge. The other thing that I noticed is with this barrel right here, and I asked Harry about this, and he says to send him a picture, and I'm going to, but he said for the most part it's normal. So it didn't seem to affect any kind of anything with my shooting, but it's just something that I noticed. I have an hourglass shape, for whatever reason, right here, almost all the way out in the middle of the barrel, right here. I have an hourglass shape that is machined into my barrel, and I don't know what it's for. I don't think the camera will pick it up, but I will attempt to show you guys what it is I am talking about. Now, this barrel is supposed to have a taper that starts right about 4 or so inches past the nut, and it's supposed to taper down, but it looks like what happened is somebody went and cut a little too deep, and yeah, you can see it right there. See how there's a difference in the barrel right there? You can see it. See the shine? See how right here, how it's tapering? You can see it in the light. There's most definitely a difference in it. You can see how the light's kind of skipping over it. So right here is where the taper is. I'm going to stick my thumb right there. You can see my thumb moving around back here. There, right there. All right, so there's a taper right here, and I can't get to my calipers to measure how much of a difference there is, but there's an hourglass shape right there. It tapers down to 1 diameter and then comes right back up. And it's probably about a 10 thousandths of an inch, 15 thousandths of an inch difference. It's not real noticeable unless you really look at it, but there is a difference there. There's the taper begins here and ends right there, okay, and it comes back up. So right here, if you guys are seeing that, hopefully you can with the light, yeah, you can really see it like that. It tapers down like bottlenecks. I don't think it's affecting the inside diameter whatsoever of the barrel, all right, but it is something that I noticed on this Zeus, and I wanted to mention it. I was a little worried about it at first because, you know, who knows how thick this barrel actually is in this particular position here. With the amount of pressure that we're exposing this barrel to, that could create a weak spot in the barrel and cause this barrel to burst. So I was a little bit worried about it. But we shot it, and it didn't seem to affect anything. So I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on it, but I wanted to mention it. All in all, though, I think that the AEA ZEUS is a fantastic rifle, especially the 16-inch. The 16-inch to me makes probably the most sense of all of their offerings that they have in this caliber. I do realize that it has less power than most of their other models, but it's a trade-off for the portability of it. And that is a trade-off that I'm willing to make. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you for watching. If you have gotten this far, if you could do me a favor and smash that like button and beat up that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it, because that's how we keep the algorithm recognizing that this channel is active. We are about to hit 1,600 subscribers on this channel, and it is my goal to see that happen before 2022 is over. We have a couple days over a month at this point in time to get that done. So I would really appreciate that. I would also like to, again, thank Terry from Fox Air Power for helping me out with everything and dealing with all my questioning. If you guys would like to get an AEA ZEUS, he's the man to see. So, again, thank you for watching. This has been American Defender, the place where we're all baptized by recoil. God bless America. Remember, take a kid fishing, take a kid shooting, and I will see you on the flip. Bye now.